Huh. I wish my spirit Helmbreaker did a lot of damage. Oh, looks like I can do a lot of damage with this longsword. What's up, YouTube? Excalibur here. In today's video, we're gonna go over my mid-title update number 3 on console version, you may say, on the PlayStation or any other consoles that you might think of. The mid-title update for my personal longsword build, uh, featuring the Kamura Legacy. So without further ado, let's break it down. So, these are the armor builds that I am using. We're using one, Risen Kushala Glare, the helmet set. We are using Score Magnum Malos' chest and waist. And we're using Guys Magorm arms and Archfiend. And thanks to the enhancement of the Curio crafting, we get to furtherly boosted our builds further and beyond. So, let's talk about it, shall we? So featuring Kamura Legacy, we got a base roll of 3-5 attack, but it's not max yet. It can be maxed up to 310 during this title update, and it has basically a very long white sharpness. It has, which is very good. It can use handicraft to bump up to purple sharpness if it wants to, but that's not the whole purpose for it. Its element is fire at 32, and it has a huge affinity. Alongside with Nargacuga, it has a base 40 affinity, the 2 second highest affinities in the game behind Shagaru Magalas' greatsword. Alright, so we have one on Furor and one in Madness Soul. And why you have Madness Soul? Because it increases the attack when you're afflicted with Hellfire Blight. That means by the time the monster is angry, your Hellfire Blight will start to be active, and we get increased damage, especially when we have Crisis is on too. That also boosts attack. So we have hard defense jewel level 3, we got 1 Furrow, we need resuscitate as plenty as possible, and more defense. The defense and Hellfire level 4 jewel, we got Hellfire level 4, jewel again, we got the Phoenix, and we don't need any other core lessons. Core lessons is 2 slot. We only got one. We got 1 for Furor and defense, and crisis, and 2 crises, but the rest is critical. Now you're gonna need to want a good talisman for this one, such as a good RNG quick sheath level 3 in the Carving Pro, which, well, Carving Pro is not that grand, but the grand part about this one, it has two slots for this one, which means we can afford critical boost is in the rest of the two slots. Alright, so let's start out with Dereliction. Curio will drain health, but bolster attacks. Multiple curios furtherly boosts attack, lets you recover health when you're performing a switch skill swap. For example, at level 1, it increases element and status when you're using red scroll. When you use a blue scroll, increases raw attack and your stun proficiency. And we got it up to level 3 for this one build. And now Mail of Hellfire. Here, decreased defense, but increased attack. Changes its stats, it depends on the switch skill swap. The scroll that being used. For example, 1, using the red scroll will decrease defense down and attack up. And if you have blue, resistance is down, but your element is up. We are at level 2. For an example, when we are red scroll, well, we lost some defense, right? Why did I put defense jewel up? Well, we lost some defense, but this is a hard counter to that penalty sometimes of a sort of part. So we're at 90, we're at 935, why did I say 90? On defense, and we have the rest of the resistance, but we got more raw attack. However, If we swap to blue scroll, you'll lose 30 elements, if I recall. A minus 30 to all elements. Which means you are going to be squishy. Yes, you have high defense. Like, for example, I have 110 defense. But we are squishy against other elements such as fire, water, thunder, ice, and mostly dragon at 36. So basically, this is basically a mix set between Mail of Hellfire and Dereliction. And then last but not least, we got Bloodlust, or not last but not least, Bloodlust. We at level 2, so while afflicted with Frenzy, attack and evasion increases, and stamina uses has been decreased. On recovery, red vitality is restored and gain infinity increases. We are on level 2. I'm trying to do my best to get it to level 3. While inflicted with Frenzy, further boosts the effects upon receive. Upon recovery, further increase the duration of the affinity. And last but not least, our favorite skill in the game for the Longsword is Wind-Proof Mantle. Using its silk bind attacks, wire bugs gauge increased recovery, landing continuous attack, and increase the effects, and wear off when you sheath your weapon or you have not attacked the monster yet. So that gets the better understanding about it. And the wind mantle is for is for another video. So basically overall it is a mixed set when a monster is basically angry. Now unfortunately I can only show the results of gaining increased attack when you have frenzy or when you have dereliction on. It's basically giving you up to 433 base raw attack, with 42 base elements if I'm at blue scroll. But if I'm at red scroll, when I'm red scroll, I gain more elements, but I lose defense. That's the point of this one. And thanks to the defense jewel level 7, we get to mitigate some of the penalties we had while wearing Mail of Hellfire your set. So, in any case, and thanks to the Windproof Mantle, it increases our more aggression to the monster. So basically, when you have a Hellfire, when you cure from any blights, Hellfire, or even the Frenzy, it's a guarantee. It's a guaranteed coalescence curing. And just remember, failing to beat the frenzy, it basically disables your ability to have resuscitate up, and you'll take increased damage from frenzy, etc., etc. So that is it for the build. So after you've beaten the frenzy, be sure you use a gourmet fish for this build. And that is my Kamura legacy build for this one. And I hope in the future update, expect the build is going to be slightly more longer.
PlayStation